Hi, it's Roger here with episode 4 of Entrepreneur TV, and it is the Q&A video. This is where I get to answer your questions, and I've got a whole bunch of questions, so thanks for sending them in. And we have now at this point at episode 4 gone through the first steps to get going on your personalized path. If you are new to this channel, then subscribe here, because by subscribing, you're going to get a whole series of things, including a test to take, the Millionaire Master Plan test, which shows you exactly what your genius is, exactly which level you're at. And as you go through these questions, you'll notice that the people asking questions, now they've got more clarity on who they are and where they are able to get really zoomed in a way that is personal and natural for them. So let's get right into the questions. First question. This is from Alexandra Emery. Hi, Roger. Thanks again for a great video. My question is, I'm a chiropractor mechanic, Blaze, at yellow level. So that means that he is great at the people side, but really good at completing things. Since my work requires for me to be present at all times with my patients, I have difficulty envisioning the next level at performer, which is when you can work on your business instead of in it. Okay, so Alexandra, you are not alone. There are many people out there that are really struggling, like spending all their time with their clients and wondering, well, how can I grow further? So let me give an example with someone who I've worked with in Australia. His name is Matt Ryman. He is a physiotherapist. So very similar to chiropractors, you know, you actually make your money when you're actually meeting up with your clients. And he had exactly the same situation where my first question to him is, how can we actually get people to come to you because of your business as opposed to because of you personally, because of your time? And three things happened. The first thing that happened was we redesigned the business, which is called Elite Body Management, to be specifically targeted at, it turns out that his biggest clients were actually sports clubs, where the entire team would be coming to see him. So he's now got very packaged solutions for sports physiotherapy, for example, and at the same time, in order for him not to have to do the work himself, he changed his pricing. He actually doubled his rates. So as a result of that, people would then be, one who wanted to see him would come see him, but he ended up actually having to take less hours on and make more money. But then it allowed him also to have a career pathway for others that he trained up to come on board. And he had people who's training up to be physiotherapists, people who's training up being masseuse on the sports massage side. In fact, as a result of the way we set up the program, where one of his biggest problems was bringing people on board, training them up, and then they were leaving, was that we said, well, how do we turn your biggest challenge into your biggest opportunity? And the way to do that is to basically turn it into a profit stream. So that meant instead of him just recruiting people in and training them up on the massage side, he created a massage school, and he charged people to be part of the massage school. And if they ended up working for him long term, then they get all sorts of benefits and credits coming back that way. Now, here's the key. Like, if all he was looking to do was to grow Elite Body Management, there's every possibility, because we ourselves, as we start building a business that allows us to step out of it, we ourselves jump back into it again. It wouldn't have worked if he himself didn't have a bigger goal, a bigger vision, which is why your future vision is so important. And if anyone's watching this and you haven't taken your future vision yet, go back to this episode and actually take the future vision, because by him doing that, that was a critical part where he said, well, you know what? While it's great having this physio school and great having this physio business, what I'm really passionate about is future medicine. It's about where we are going personalized medicine. And so by freeing him up from the business where he was in it every day to one where he structured it through some of the things I just mentioned to allow himself not to be so busy in it, he got really excited about his new mission, where he's now started up something called The Ultimate Human, which is a foundation supporting like the latest technologies, which will allow us to understand our own physiology using all the latest tools that are available, and something called PH360. And I'll leave some links here so you can go have a look at them if you're interested, which is personalized medicine and advice based on yourself and in the future through your DNA as well. So he's now been traveling around the world, totally different life from what he had before, as a result of him just being really, really clear what he really wanted to do with his life and how he can actually set up his business in a way that I can actually work without him, right? So I'd go along and look at his website and see how he does it, and those are the exact same steps that you could be taking as well. All right, second question, Woon Tan. Woon Tan, hi Roger, as always, thanks for sharing the videos. The Clean Web Conversations podcast, where I promote web-based sustainability technologies, is now taking shape. Awesome. I'm going to change the videos to make them shorter and simpler after watching the videos. Awesome. Okay, here's my question. You mentioned about parachuting in versus building the brand up. So that was in a previous video, last Q&A video, which is here. I'll be putting all sorts of different links in here, so just go to the ones that are useful to you. But in that way, I'm talking about the difference of having to work really hard for years trying to build up your brand compared to tying up with the right people and parachuting in. Right? Basically, it's all about trust and credibility. And if you're partnering with the right people, then you effectively straight away have their endorsement towards what you're up to as well. So he said, are these two mutually exclusive ways of growing a business, or is it possible to be doing both at the same time? And what's the best way to determine the approach? Okay, so Wuntan, the answer is at the very beginning of anything, it's a whole lot easier to parachute in. So for example, with my book in America, if I'd gone there trying to build my brand over many years, it would have taken a long time. But by partnering up with the people that were already New York Times bestsellers, finding things that I could do to support them, what would be most valuable to them, and vice versa, it was much, much easier to be able to, as a result of that, be recommended to their database, to their community, and for that community then to trust me because I was coming with the endorsement of someone they already trusted. However, while to begin with, it's always easier to start that way, and obviously later it's easier to actually build off your own brand once you've built it, there are some mechanics you can use which make life much, much easier for you to bring the two together. So let me give you a couple of quick examples. Heather Yelland. Heather Yelland is someone who is based in Australia. She was in the consultancy side. When I started working with Heather, her whole passion, she found out, was kids. She wanted to really support children, and she was like saying, how can I support their education? We in Bali had already set up a partnership with Supercamp, which is one of the largest, this is Bobby and Joe, Bobby DePorter, Joe Chapon. They set up Supercamp, maybe 20, 30 years ago, and it's had millions of kids go through it as a summer camp program, which is all about accelerated learning. And what we did is we created a co-brand. So this is like where you parachute in and you build your brand at the same time. And we created a co-brand called Green Supercamp together with the Green School. And this runs now every year at around about July time, where kids can come in and use all the tools of Supercamp linked to the green side, which is what we created as a partnership with the Green Camp, with the Green School and Green Camp. And then from there, when Heather came on board and said, well, I can either try and create the whole thing myself, or if I partner up in the same way with Supercamp and then also Green Supercamp, I can run my own Green Supercamps in Australia, which is exactly what she does now. So she didn't have to figure it all out. All of the testimonials over the 20, 30 years that Supercamp had grown, all the credibility, even the business model itself, all of it basically people are willing to share with you if you're partnering with them in a way that they're making money and you're making money as well. So that's like a really good example of creating something I call a hinge. A hinge is the fixed point which allows everything else to move. Green Supercamp's a hinge between Supercamp, so it supports them and their brand building, between the Green School, Green Camp, and also between the kids and even the schools in Australia that want to connect in with that as well. Another example for like the corporate market, if it's not so much about education, Michelle Clark with Talent Dynamics. Again, links here. Talent Dynamics is our corporate side for Wealth Dynamics. And when Talent Dynamics started, again, very little credibility in the market because corporates hadn't heard about it. They didn't know it. But when we really got focused at trust and the whole key concept that if you actually can get people in their flow in business, then they can be far more trusted as well. As a result of that just thought process, it's like, well, how can we really parachute in on that concept of trust? And what Michelle created was something called the Trust Conference, which has now been running for 2 years. It's attracted, this year was 800 people who came along to it. And we teamed up with Stephen Covey, who wrote The Speed of Trust, or this year, Bob Geldof, where everything he talks about is how the trust of movements can be far greater than even how much we trust our governments. And so by connecting with the right people who are part of what's now called the Trust Movement and creating the Trust Conference, we created a space where everyone can come and play and where we could actually build instant credibility, which is allowing us to work with all sorts of people in the community, including people that theoretically would be our competitors, because everyone's in it now, basically supporting the same thing, which is something outside of ourselves. This is the difference of having a personal brand, which I'll come on to, a company brand, and a product brand. That you can actually create in both these cases a product brand, which actually allows you to parachute in and build up your credibility at the same time, And that product brand is something that you effectively co-create and co-own with others as well, right? So anyway, there's some examples for you. And by the way, there's a video on how do you really start from scratch in doing this here, which are the first 4 steps in building any business. Highly recommend you watch it, because it's about how you collaborate with people when you start with nothing to really get going at the fastest speed possible, and with the greatest trust. Okay, next question, Crizia Jeverly Lucero. Hi Roger, I'm Crizia and I'm from the Philippines. Hi Crizia. Here's my dilemma. I'm 24 years old. I'm running a business for 1 year now, and I'm living in a place where starting a business young is frowned upon by many townsfolk. Okay, so I understand many of you will be feeling quite alone trying to build your business right now, just like Crizia. I feel alone and I don't know where to get mentors and a team to help me in my business. Now, I don't know what direction to go to and if I should continue my business or not. See, this is one of the worst things, right? It's like you're passionate, you want to get going, but you don't have the right environment. Like, this is, for me, one of the biggest myths about success. Is a lot of us, we're taught success is how much you want it. You know, how much do you want to be successful will determine your success. Not true. Not true, because if you are there determined for your success, but everyone around you isn't, no matter how hard you work at it, it's like swimming upstream, right? It's not the easiest way to go. So true success is not how much you want it, it's how much you're surrounded by people who want that success for you, right? So by you putting yourself in a situation where, of course, you need to want it yourself, but to be around a whole bunch of people supporting you can make a huge difference. So her question is, can you suggest things I can do to continue and get over these walls that I can encounter? The most important thing is to connect up with people who support you. And the good news is it's easier than ever to do this because of the internet, because we can connect with people virtually in other countries even. So the first thing I recommend is connect with the right communities. I mean, you know that with our community, with Entrepreneurs Institute and Genius U, you know, we've got now over 150,000 people who are part of our platform, and they're all supporting each other, right? So if you haven't been to that yet, here's the link, go to it, connect in with the others, and they'll be there to support you. The second thing is look for people within your own community locally as well. So an example, Monty Hook, who I just met this last weekend at our big conference we had in Bali, he's set up a company, which is an outsourced company called EasyVA. That's, here's the link here. And it is actually based in partnership with partners in Philippines, right? So it's right in your territory, Crizia. And he's doing more than simply providing work for people in the Philippines, providing outsourcing in all sorts of different areas for your business around the world. He's also supporting those in the Philippines to be able to grow their entrepreneurial spirit as well. So he's got a great community. Connect in with him, and you'll find that he then is also connected with many others in the entrepreneur community in Philippines as well. All right, next question, Beverly Hamilton. Just done the passion test and discovered, okay, so we have now partnered up with Chris and Janet Atwood, who created the passion test, and you can actually take it for free online on the link which is below this video. So click on the video, go to the comments, or just before the comments in the description. I'll leave the link there. I've just done the passion test, discovered my passions fall into mainly summer, 40%, autumn, 40%, winter, 20%. So when you find out what your top 5 passions are, you can find out then how to align your life to your passions, because there's nothing worse than trying to work hard on a business or a job where you're not passionate. And the great thing about passions is every hour you're working your passions, you grow your energy, as opposed to every hour you're not, where you lose energy. So that's why some people get to the end of the day, and even though they're so busy, they're energized, while others, we get to the end of the day, or even lunchtime, we're exhausted already, right? It's so much to do with understanding what our true passions are, and staying away from things that aren't our passions by having other people to work with on that as well. So, question. My profile's creator, which is like spring energy, and I have a strong why in my life, but I have no passion elements which are either water or wood. Is this a paradox? Or am I just being not honest with myself? Are my passions what I need to focus at, or is it more my genius, right? Which way does it go? So really important distinction. Your passions are what you love to do. Your genius is what you do well. You want to find people with the same passions as you because you all love the same thing, whether it's education or travel or health. But you need to find people who have different geniuses than you, because you might be good at creativity, you need someone good at the numbers, someone good at the people. So remember, passions, find the same people. Talents or genius, find different people. And what's most important about this is that you will find that over your life, while your genius will always stay the same, your passions will change. You know, a lot of my passions today are around health, around family, where when I was younger, like in my 20s or 30s, I had passions which were in different areas around adventure and fun. So things will shift as you go through life, and your passions will move as well through the seasons. So be aware of that, and you can keep on taking the passion test again and again every couple of years, or even more often if you want to see how they're shifting with you as well. All right. So don't worry, Beverly. It's all about aligning the two together. Wayne Fox. I've got a few more here, and then I've got after a few of these, a couple of announcements I want to share at the end, which are quite exciting. Wayne Fox. Hi Roger, another great video. Thank you. Quick questions for you. In a creator profile, I'm a creator profile in the UK. Does this mean my plans will only work best when the UK is in spring energy? All right, so I talk about the seasons in some past videos, and you need to be tuned into the right season in order for you to really be successful. Also, how can we know what season a particular country is in? I'm assuming it's related to the economy. Okay, so let me start with the second part. How do you know what season a country is in? Because we all know when it feels like we're in winter, like in the property market, or you know, in our own industry. Like, you know, one of the industries I'm involved in is the education industry. And the education industry has gone into this winter where suddenly people aren't so likely to show up at events as much. They're not so likely, you know, to be paying for expensive programs. They're more likely to want free information, which is why I'm quite happy to give this for free. And they're also, and you're in this market, right? I mean, you're there getting educated, and you know your behavior has changed as well over this time, because our behaviors change with the seasons, right? So knowing the seasons change is one thing. How do you know when a season's about to change? By seeing what season it's in, or seeing what season it just came from as a likelihood to see where it's going to go. So let me give an example, and then I'll answer the question. Property. You know, if you go to England, for example, the property market has gone through this shift where it's actually gone from winter, and in the last 3 years, it's actually been in spring. You'll know it because the property market's been going up like crazy after the crash. And as it's gone up like crazy in the spring, it shifts. You can't keep on saying, well, I'll just buy hoping it'll keep on going up. You know at some point it's going to move. It's already shifting to summer. So what's the difference? The difference is in summer, it's not the people who are the first movers that actually make the money. It's the people that actually have got the right connections or partnerships to find the best deals, given that it's not all the deals that are the best deals. And it's when people are connecting far more. So an example of a dynamo creator, just like you, Wayne, is Simon Zucci. So Simon, he set up the Property Investor Network in England. And that's great when people are looking for all the right deals. But now that people are looking to connect more effectively, and through the fast forward events that I run, he heard all about crowdfunding and said, right, that's the area I want to get into. Then he actually set up a company called Property Crowd. Now, this is one of the first crowdfunding platforms for property in the UK. And here's a link here, right? So this is definitely a place to go to if you're looking at the latest trends on how people are actually getting together to buy properties. And this is going into blaze energy, going into summer energy, where people are saying, right, I want to connect up with others to get the best deals, as opposed to trying to figure it out for myself. So you can move with seasons, provided you're using your talent, your genius, to be able to do it. One more example, Webinar Vet. This is Anthony Chadwick, also in England. And same thing was happening in professional development in the vet industry. He was a vet, and it was going through winter where people were wanting the cheapest possible way for them to get their CPDs, which is their professional development points. And all vets need this. So they had to go to these training sessions, which meant they had to close down their practice to go and do these sessions. So he said, well, why don't I set up a site where that site would be creating webinars for all the vets, which is what he did. So Webinar Vet now has got thousands and thousands of vets who come to it every day to actually take his programs. And that's grown into a really sizable business online. But off the back of that, he found they're all looking to connect with each other, because again, it's moving through to the creative side now. And so as a result, they're all looking for the latest products, the latest ideas. So he set up, first of all, an international virtual conference, which you'll see on his site that he's created. And now looking at different products and the latest innovations like sensors and things for pets that people would be interested in getting involved in with new technology. So he will move with the times, but always be using his, as a dynamo, using his creative energy, just like a blaze would use their connection energy to shift with those seasons as well, right? So be aware of the seasons, but also be aware we all can have a part to play at every point of that. And same goes with our team building as well. You know, remember, teams will always go through 4 steps of a cycle. It would always start at the very, very beginning with form, and then it goes to storm, which is the fire energy, and then it goes to norm, which is normalizing earth energy, and then it goes to perform, which is the metal energy. So the leadership you have within the team needs to fit those 4 energies as well. And that means sometimes stepping back from leadership and letting the person who's the right natural energy take charge through that phase of development as well, right? So this is really about just staying tuned in to your natural energy and the natural frequency of the people around you as well. Okay, final question here. This is a question from Elizabeth. Elizabeth O. Hi Roger, your videos and Genius You is fab, awesome, brilliantly put together, thank you. I have one question. I've noticed on your site where members put together their circle of peers, so we have these Genius circles you can create, that 15 of the 16 examples of suggested personalities are men. Only Oprah for the women. Please can you add more girls on there, as it's a bit like the Tory cabinet right now. Otherwise, everything else is wonderful. Very good point, Elizabeth. We have a tech team, we have a design team that's setting everything up, adding things in there as well. Absolutely right. We need more women in there as well. What is really amazing, and for many of you watching this, you'll be women, and for those of you who are not, you will know that there is this massive shift or growth in women leadership around the world right now. So we actually have more women than men using our Genius Youth site right now. We're going to do that. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through suggestions already of people you can follow as role models in each of the geniuses who are women. On the dynamo side, if you pick up Thrive, which is Arianna Huffington's book, Arianna is an amazing example of a dynamo energy. There's a number of new billionaires as well. People like Tory Burch, good example. People like Sarah Blakely that have made their billions by their creativity. Even the likes of Beyonce and the way that she's thinking differently about like how she's growing her, oh look, the sun's coming out, it's morning time here. Even the way that Beyonce has gone about her innovative process of how she's launching her music nowadays and the way she's creating things, always one step ahead. Really good examples of dynamo genius. Blaze genius, there are now a whole bunch of women leaders who are showing up. Even like with Facebook, you take someone like Sheryl Sandberg who wrote Lean In, really great book. She's all about leadership and how women are taking charge and the way they're taking charge in the workplace. Indra Nooyi, who is the CEO of Pepsi, or Ben Whitman, CEO of Hewlett-Packard, who used to run eBay. These are all examples of people that really get the people side, and that's why they're actually now able to run these massive businesses. Tempo, Marissa Mayer, who is the head of Yahoo. A lot of people will say about someone like Marissa, she just went and did another, $600 million acquisition today as I'm doing this video. Why didn't she go out and be creative like other people instead of going out and buying these different businesses? Well, because she's a tempo energy, she's much better at being sensory of what's around her and basically buying in or collecting those things as opposed to going out creating her own thing, which is why I really believe the likes of Yahoo is going to be very successful as we're moving through the mobile, because with mobile, it's gone through the creative side. It's now already into summer energy, and it's only a matter of time before it comes into tempo. And I think at that point, they're going to be really positioned. That's my personal view, but it's also just understanding her profile. Another example, Susan, I don't know if I'm sharing her name right or not, but I think it's Wadziki. Susan Wadziki is the new head of YouTube. So this video is on YouTube. And a massive shift's happened on YouTube just in the last year, because after she took charge, whereas the last head was a creator profile, always come up with new ideas, and a lot of the people who are on YouTube, a lot of the YouTubers were feeling they weren't getting served so well. Susan comes along and everything's much more sensory. She actually listens to them. She's actually saying, this is what we can do for you based on what you're saying, as opposed to what we think you want. And as a result, she's actually got this huge shift happening in the community, happening right now on YouTube, because of the way that she leads very, very differently through consultation as opposed to innovation. Right? So we've all got different leadership styles, like I mentioned. Or on the steel side, hey, did you know the entire world's finance markets are now run by women? We've got the likes of Janet Yellen, who runs the Federal Reserve, Christine Lagarde, head of IMF. Even in all of Europe, Angela Merkel, who's a Lord profile, very much steel side, who's the Chancellor of Germany. These are all people that are actually driving a lot of the world's economy right now, or leading it from the head. And that's a really interesting shift that's happened, because that certainly wasn't the case 10 years or even 5 years ago. So there is a shift that's taking place. That's an answer to you, Elizabeth, but we certainly will be putting more and more case studies like that on our site. And with that said, I'd like to share with everyone, if you have not yet subscribed, subscribe. We're about to go to the next step. After this episode 4, episode 5, we're going to be starting to raise up the levels, starting with how do you really make your personal finances set for the future, where you've got a multi-million-dollar plumbing system in place, which allows you to then grow your wealth and make sure that as you're flowing in through the way you're turning your time into money, that everything shifts. Remember, at the end of the day, when it comes to your money, when you spend your money, you can always get more, but when you spend your time, when it comes to your time, you never get that back. Your time's your greatest asset. And on the next video, we're going to see exactly how you turn that into money in a way which is most natural for you. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that if you have any comments or you have any questions that show up, you post those questions so we'll get to them in upcoming videos as well. And until the next video next week, keep shining brightly, and I'll speak to you again later. Bye.